Amazing. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the session. And today's session, as the name says, it's about unveiling the UiPath's AI Center. It's been a long time since I've talked about UiPath's AI Center product. We have used a lot in past. Currently, also we're using a lot on AI models. However, this is one of the very initial and core component of the AI category in UiPath. So that's where we are going to look at uh, features, functionalities of UiPath AI Center because it's one of the most matured AI product of UiPath and available since long time. So we will talk about it. But before that, just like every day, a quick check on how many of you have used AI Center in your projects or have at least tried AI Center for your personal projects. Anyone in chat?
Yeah, yeah. Nisar, your voice is breaking a bit, so not sure if there is anything we can do around that.
Uh, good now? Is it better?
Yeah, this time is better. This line is always better, man. Yes,
Just give
yes,
me a moment. 1 second.
no problem.
Now is it better?
Yeah. It's been better. You continue, no worries. So we already have answers from
Okay.
participants. Yes.
Okay. So my question was just to repeat, how many of you have actually tried UiPath AI Center, and how many of you have not tried? Just in chat. And any time you see my voice breaking, just let me know in the chat. So I'll just quickly repeat what I said. Okay. So not tried, haven't tried. Okay. DU framework and AI Center I have used in personal project. Parvati. Okay. Good. Amazing. Not yet. Oh, so people who haven't used is very good news for me because in that case, this is going to be amazing for you and going to be a totally different experience and altogether a really nice perspective, right? So let's have a look at that. Yeah, amazing. Good. So now I know that pretty much. Let's quickly go and let's start from basics first, okay? So we'll catch up to each and every milestone here one by one, but let's get started with, first of all, what is UiPath's AI Center? So as I said, UiPath's AI Center is one of UiPath's most mature AI product where you can actually integrate ML skills or machine learning models within your UiPath workflow, and you can utilize those automations, right? So that's the whole main concept of UiPath's AI Center. Now let's have a quick look at how you can enable UiPath AI Center on your Orchestrator Cloud. So since we have everyone Orchestrator Cloud as a trial or community license, you can always try with that. However, UiPath AI Center is also available on premises. But I doubt highly because that companies and customers use AI Center on premises because they need the servers to be hosted on premises. But most of the customers uses cloud, so it's easy for us to relate and go and get started with the cloud edition of UiPath AI Center. Amazing. So first things first, where do we find UiPath AI Center? So let's go to the admin, and in ad you have to click on your tenant. Give me a moment. It's a little bit slow. Let me try to refresh. So just like yesterday, software DU, right? How we can enable the document understanding service. So in case if few of you have missed that initial part, you can check how you can enable the service of document understanding. Just give me a moment. I'm shifting my Wi-Fi so that it'll be easier for us to get. Okay. Now you see the services. The moment you click on your tenant, you see the services, click on services, and in the services, you will have all these services available for your cloud. Now, within the services, the service which we need is the AI Center. All you have to do is click here and you have to say enable. For example, if any service is disabled for you, you can click here and you can see the enable option here. So for me now, the AI Center is enabled. So I just go here, I'll enable it. But yes, in order to use UiPath AI Center, you need to have a license called as AI units. So you need to have AI units allocated to your orchestrator account or your account, right? In that case, you can use AI Center or you can deploy AI Center models and you can use them. So the consumption of the AI capabilities is completely with the unit of AI units. Okay. So earlier, very prior, there used to be AI robots, just like unattended and attended robots, but now it's completely the calculation of AI units, which is totally depending upon how you host your model, how you use your model, and based on the services of the models that you use, right? Okay, amazing. Now we know how do we enable this AI Center on UiPath's cloud. Okay, let's get started with the product. So let's go to AI Center. Okay, this is how it looks. Now AI Center is pretty much what we saw yesterday, the enhanced version of DU, where we create a custom model for ourselves that is nothing but using AI Center. So same way, today we are going to see different other out-of-the-box models of AI Center product. Now, when I say out-of-the-box models, there are two different types of it. One is UiPath own models, and other one is out-of-the-box models. Now, we'll talk about that and we'll see what are these out-of-the-box models. Okay, let's get started with how we can actually leverage UiPath's AI Center. Okay, so first things first. The moment you are here, click on Create Project. Give your project a name. Let's say sentiment analysis. Okay. And then say create. Just give a project name. That's all. Again, we are back to the page where we saw all these steps that you have to follow in order to use AI Center capability or ML model within your workflow. First of all, your dashboard. The moment you create project, it shows what are the data sets you have, what are the ML packages you have, what are the pipelines that are running. You can see all these statuses. Since we don't have anything, it's all blank, right? Now let's go to data sets. Depend on the model. If your model is trainable, now whatever I'm saying, okay, note it down because it's very, very important for you to understand this basic concepts and core concepts for those who haven't used AI Center. Okay. So there are two types of models. One, which is non-retrainable. That means it's
Nisar, we lost
models
you.
means
Uh,
hello.
can you repeat? You just we lost you after non trainable.
Okay, can you hear me now? Is it better?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So out of the two models, the first one is non-trainable, the second one is trainable. The non-trainable model is the model where you actually cannot train that model because it's already trained and trained with its data. So it's basically fit. It's fit. Fit in the model. It already knows its limitations. For example, sentiment analysis, right? The model is already trained with the data to identify and to give certain sentiments out of here. Again, you lost me.
Yeah, I mean, we lost you for a while, for 5 seconds.
Yeah, for the
Okay.
non-trainable and the trainable. After non-trainable, can you repeat that?
Yeah, just a moment. Let me. One second. I'm just trying to reconnect back. Yeah. Can you hear me now? Is it a little better? So the okay. So the non-retrainable is the one which is already trained. I will look at that, right? And trainable is one where you can train it. It's as simple as what its name suggests, right? Now, the non-retrainable models do not need data sets because obviously they're already trained. And trainable models need data to be trained, and that data you can keep in the data sets. That's why the data sets are important. And similar, just like your DU needs data to be kept somewhere. That is nothing but you keep your data in data sets. Similarly, for ML model as well, you keep your data in the data sets. Now, data labeling. Data labeling is usually used for two purposes. One is your document understanding, which is the data manager. Another one is your out-of-the-box labeling. In case if you need a text classification or entity labeling, then you use the Label Studio of UiPath's AI Center. And this is one of the new features, because earlier, if you want to use a text classification model and if you want to train it, or you want to train a named entity recognition model, right? Then you had to use a third-party application for labeling. But now that is already available within your UiPath AI Center, which is good. So this is again one of the most important features of very, very recent updates in AI Center, which is the out-of-the-box labeling studio. Okay, amazing. Moving on. The important piece, ML packages. Now, what is this piece, right? What are the ML packages? How do we know which package to select? So there are three types, as you can see here. One is upload a zip file. Another is import ML package, right? And the third one is box file. Is basically you already have a prepared zip file. That means you have exported your entire model, and now you are uploading that directly here. So this is basically uploading your own model, right? Let me refresh this. Now you can see I have one second. So, okay. So ML packages, the main important thing is upload zip file. Now, upload zip file is basically you can upload your own package. All you need is just a package name. Upload your own package description. What is the input type? Is it JSON? Is it file? Is it multiple files? What are the input description, output description, and what language you're using? So currently there is Python 3.7, 3.8, 3.8 OpenCV, 3.9, right? And then custom package, again, enable training, right? And then recommended GPU. Now, these three things, you can just hover here and you can get more information on basically, do you want to add a custom package version, or do you want to, because it will automatically set its version. Do you want to enable the training for this model? That means, do you want to make your own uploaded model as a trainable model, right? In that case, you enable the training. And then do you need GPU in order to publish and host this model? So this is when you use your own custom ML model. Now, for creating your own custom ML model, all you have to do is just come here, say, custom ML model UiPath AI Center, okay? And just check this. Upload a custom model. There is a forum post, right? Just basically you type it, you have all this data, and then there is a documentation official by UiPath, which is your, just give me a moment, building ML packages, which you can very easily find. Okay. So in the packages, you can see for serving, for training, what you have to do, what you have to do for view packages, right? And then you can find all these details of uploading your new ML package, correct? What do you do? Input description, output description, and then options, changing logs. So all the steps have been explained very, very carefully here, and what you have to actually do in order to create your own model. But now the main piece here is this part, which we are talking about, creating your own custom ML model, is all about using your data science. If you have any model with you and you want to configure it and you want to use it with the UiPath AI Center feature, but in that case, you need advanced team who actually builds this model for you, right? So that's the piece, which is creating your own custom ML model. Now come to the very important and simple piece. Why do we use AI Center and why do we love AI Center? The main important thing is out-of-the-box packages. Click on this. The moment you see out-of-the-box packages, okay, quick question. How many of you are actually doing this with me or following up with me and checking if you can see the same.
Yes.
Parvati,
Parvati,
yes.
yes.
Okay, this is because it's very important. If you do the hands-on parallelly with me, right, it's basically something which you can relate very quickly. Okay, that's why I just asked this question. Okay, perfect, amazing. I think we have one question in
Yes, Balakrishna is asking a question for any pre-built model. How are we going to do the retrain?
Hello,
Yes, you're
I'm back.
audible. Yep.
Okay, perfect. I was actually lost, so one second.
Yeah. So
Oh,
Balakrishna is asking a question for any of the pre-built model. How are we going to do the retraining?
correct. Yeah. So we are going to cover this piece right now. So the first piece which we saw was uploading a zip file. Now, to answer your question, Balakrishna, let's look at how do we actually use a pre-built model first. Okay. So what did we do? We clicked on out-of-the-box packages. Now, in the out-of-the-box packages, let's look at what all options we have. We have UiPath Computer Vision. Okay. Computer vision is also piece of AI. And that's why, when we talk about UiPath's AI products, computer vision is again one of the important piece because it actually helps you to understand your screen, which cannot be understood with the selectors, right? It understands your screen as image. Now, the biggest important piece of UiPath's AI Center is document understanding, which you saw yesterday. You can refer to the recording as well, or you might have already attended yesterday's session. So this is again another piece which all the models are made available by UiPath. The third piece is UiPath's image analysis. Now, this is UiPath's own models, which contains, now this is just a outside package of two models, correct? UiPath image analysis. Inside that, you have two models, image classification, signature comparison. Right now, image classification or signature compression, just click on it and then you can see all the details of the specific model, like the description of the model. The UiPath signature comparison model is blah blah blah. What is the input? What does it accept as an input? It accepts PNG and JPEG file. Then what is the output? It tells you the similarity between two images, whether it is 0 or 1. So 0 means it's not matching, 1 means it's matching. And then preliminary determination if the signatures are from same author, different authors based on the defined format. And then the package version is currently 2. So this is how you actually read a specific model and decide which model you want to use. Now, quick thing. So when I clicked here, did you notice? You can see the build version, but at the same time, you can see non-retrainable. So if you see this tag as non-retrainable, that means this model you cannot retrain again. That means this model is already trained. You cannot upload, even if you upload data sets, you cannot run a training pipeline. You cannot, perform the training for this particular model. You can just use the ML package and just deploy it as an ML skill and start using it. That's all. So whenever we use any model which is non-retrainable, what do we need to do? We'll look at that. Okay, quickly go back. Now look at the UiPath's language analysis. In the language analysis, we have custom named entity recognition, which I have used a lot. Light text classification, multi-label text classification, multilingual text classification, semantic similarity. Now you see there are many different types of ML packages, correct? Now text classification. Click on it and you can actually see that this model is retrainable, correct? Now, whenever you see this model is retrainable, that means this model is now where you have to actually upload your data sets, run a pipeline, and then use ML skill with the newly available version of ML model because you have trained it. So basically, this model is not pre-trained. You can check here. This is a generic retrainable model for text classification. It supports all the language based on Latin characters such as English, French, Spanish, other. And you can see this. Now, similarly, for output, you see it gives you a JSON with the predicted class names, associated confidence, and class prediction, right? So this is your text classification. Now look at the multi-label text classification and multilingual text classification. There are these two again, which basically is sort of, it's retrainable again, but it supports 100 Wikipedia languages which are listed on this particular link, and this ML package must be trained. And if deployed without training first, the deployment will fail, obviously, with error starting the model is not trained. So that means this model cannot be published without training at all. So that's why this is purely retrainable model. We'll see how we can retrain that model as well. Okay. Now, coming back to UiPath task menu. So UiPath task
We'll just wait for a
flow.
minute.
Okay, now.
Yeah,
Hello.
Nisar,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we lost you after task when you started task mining.
Okay, I'll repeat again. So how many of you have used task mining, or how many of you know about task mining? Quick question. Okay, don't know. Parvati says no. Anyone else? Oh, nice. Shailesh Kumar says I have learned about Celonis. Context, only know about it, right? So this product has been there in market since long time. I'm talking about UiPath, right? Obviously, apart from UiPath, task mining has been there since a long time. What's the basic concept of task mining is UiPath's task mining. I mean, obviously, we are talking about AI Center today, but I'll just give you a context about task mining since we have came to this. Task mining is basically UiPath's product, which actually to put it in a very simple language, okay? It basically records your screen, what user is doing on the daily basis. It looks at your screen continuously, okay? So task mining will have an agent which will be installed on your machine. That agent will start recording your screen. I mean, you obviously have to give it a permission. You can also restrict what all applications it can record and what applications it cannot record. So you can actually do that all functionality and manipulation. And once you do that, task mining basically records your entire work of, let's say, 1 week. And after 1 week, when you upload that exported data of all those recordings basically go in your this model, which is TM analyzer model. Now, what this model does, this model runs only your one of the pipeline, which is train pipeline. And then what does it do? It gives you the predicted graph of what are the repeated steps that you have done in this entire week. Now, what tasking basically in the background, it actually works on an AI model, which is your TM analyzer model, and automatically predicts what are all the patterns and what is the majority of the work that you have been doing this last week based on the applications that have been recorded. And it gives you a couple of workflows which are most repetitive and which are highly used, or the work which is highly performed. Along with that, it not only gives you the recommendation, but it also gives you a skeleton of a workflow. It also gives you documentation. It also gives you screenshots. So overall, task mining is like a perfect package for your discovery phase products, right? So whenever discovery phase comes in picture, it actually works very amazingly. Now, quickly jumping to open source packages. Now, what are these open source packages? So apart from this UiPath's own custom packages, there are more available open source packages, just like, let's click on image analysis, image moderation, object detection. Now, this is one of my most favorite model. Object detection model, UiPaths, is basically a retrainable model, but also, if you check this model is already pre-trained on Coco dataset. Okay, quick question. How many of you know about Coco dataset? What is Coco dataset and what is YOLO? YOLO. Hey, you can actually look at it on my screen, right? It's YOLO is nothing but you only look once, right? YOLO. So what is this YOLO? YOLO is one of the most effective object detection model, and that are data science. So your path knowledge can be applied on data science. Yes, Rajni, your question is very, very good. Steps that we are the steps that we are following here are pretty much similar to actually understanding what model. So see, basically, when you perform any operation, right, what you do is you first of all perform the benchmarking or analyzing which model do you actually have to use. Then once you know your problem, once you know which model you have to use, then comes the very crucial piece, which is the data. Where will you get the data from? Right? How will you gather that data? And once you have data, you also have to verify whether the data is sufficient enough to train your model or not. We'll talk about all of that, right? But your point is correct. So whatever we are doing here right now is nothing but steps which a proper data scientist follow to use a specific model. I'm not saying build a model. Okay, building a model is a whole different story. It includes your algorithm, it includes your problem solving, best approach, your complexities, and so many things. However, here what we are doing is just utilizing the models which are already available, right? Now that we know that we have this model, so object detection model basically is pre-trained on Coco dataset, which is like 80 classes and many documents. So you just search here Coco dataset and find it on Google. So this model is a research model, or this dataset basically is a research dataset, which has made available by certain companies. You can see. So sponsors are Microsoft, Facebook, MindAI, blah, 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 right? And you can see the Coco dataset is basically 330K images, 1.5 million objects, 80 objects, and all that is already trained on this model, which is amazing, right? But at the same time, it's also retrainable. So what does this mean? This model you can also use without retraining. So you might want to check the description of every model. Now let's look at the out of the box what for us. So we can try. Okay, let's go to out of the box packages, and here you can see language analysis. Now, this is the one which we are going to use. Since we named our project as sentiment analysis, let's click on sentiment analysis. Okay, and scroll below. This is a non-retrainable model. Simple enough. Let's say submit. Let's give it a name. So what did I do? Did I upload any data set? Did I upload any data labeling? No, I don't have to perform data labeling. I don't have to upload data sets because we are using a non-retrainable model. I'll just give it a name, sentiments AI, for example. Right. Submit. Sayuri says she has used it. Nice, amazing. So Sayuri already knows what we are going to use in this model, right? This is one of the pre-trained and non-retrainable models, right? We had, oh, amazing. Wow, great. Okay, the moment you deploy this ML package, now let's go back to pipeline. Now, do we need the pipeline? Because this model is already trained and you do not need a retraining, you don't need pipeline. So pipeline is a phase of a machine learning model creating when you basically need to retrain a specific model with your own data. Right now, in this case, we don't need a pipeline. There are three types of pipeline. One is training pipeline, another one is evaluation pipeline, and the third one is full pipeline. What is the difference between these three pipelines? So the train pipeline is basically the pipeline which you use to train the model with your own data set. Now, the evaluation pipeline is the pipeline which you use to evaluate what you have trained. Now, let me give you a very, very amazing example to explain all these concepts. Okay. What is the pipeline concept and what is this ML building concept? Consider this ML model as a student who goes to school or college. Now, throughout your entire semester, what you learn, right, from your books. So all of your books, history, geography, science, blah, 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 but your data set. What you learn throughout your entire semester is a training pipeline. And now after you learn, you give one examination to justify whatever you have learned is correct or whatever you have learned is actually makes sense. And that gives the score, whether you have 90% rate, maybe 80%, blah, blah, right? That score generation or that examination asks you only a couple of questions, right? So when you learn, when you are trained, you train yourself with huge amount of data. But when you give examination, you give only couple of questions and answers. That's why you have ML model concept where your model is been trained with thousands of data, while when you evaluate only with 20% of the data. So the breakage of training and evaluation data set always has to be 80-20. So 80% of the, let's say you have 1000 rows of data to train, then you train your model with 800 rows, and then you evaluate your model with the 200 rows. Because whenever you go to evaluate, you do not evaluate with the similar data that you have trained on. Your evaluation data always has to be separate. That's why you always break your entire data set into 80% and 20% ratio. Use a training pipeline to train the model, like complete learning phase, and then evaluation is nothing but your examination phase, which is the score generation. And since when you have a score above 80%, 90%, and if you feel, okay, this score is enough for me, and this model is trained enough, then you can go ahead and you can use the model. Okay, amazing. So this piece is clear now. Let's go to ML skill. Since we are not using retraining, we will just go ahead and we'll say this is sentiments AI skill. Choose a package. So we just selected a package from the ML packages. Major version, minor version, obviously 0. I will not enable GPU. I will not enable auto update and ML skill public. But how and what is this? Enable GPU will basically just make sure that whenever you use this model, it uses GPU and give you faster responses. Enable auto update is basically when you have a new update, it automatically updates your model to the latest version, right? And then make ML skill public. This public is nothing but it will give you endpoint. So it won't change anything. It will just give you endpoint to use this specific model. And then undeploy skill after a period activity of 1 day. And then I will say create. So currently I do not have sufficient licenses. I'll see if I can have it on my stage. Give me a moment. Okay. So this is the simple process of creating your ML model. In the meantime, I'm just logging into staging account. Okay, now this we saw for a non-retrainable model. Now let's have a look at retrainable model. Okay, for that, what I will do is I will download certain data sets so I can show you. Access to the licenses of AI units, where I can actually show you how this actually work. In the meantime, we'll look at if I can download this data set. Okay, perfect. Let's create a project. Let's say sentiments AI. No, sentiments. Now I'll quickly go through the steps again, but I will just show you. So we went directly to the ML packages. We went to out of the box packages. And then from the open source packages, we selected language analysis. Language comprehension. We selected the, where is sentiment analysis? Oh no, not in translation, obviously. Okay, got it. In the language analysis, we selected sentiment analysis, submit, give it a name, sentiments, AI, submit, and then the moment you create your ML package, which is undeployed, it'll refresh, go to ML skill, create, sentiments AI, choose the package version, major version, minor version, and then basically just create. And that's all. Now, the moment I create it, it will be deployed, and this, as soon as it is available, the status will change to available. And the moment it is available, I can go back to my UI Studio, and I can use this ML model using UiPath ML package activities. Okay, we'll also look at that. Quickly to go back and check how you can actually retrain a model which is a trainable model, right? Now, I have an example where I have a profit prediction model. Now, this profit prediction, I already have a data set. So as you can see, I have a train data, test data already created here, and I have a CSV. So let me download this CSV for now. Download. Did I lose my voice again? Am I audible? Hello?
Yeah, yes, Nigam.
Okay, perfect. So I just downloaded test data and train data. Okay, let's go and let's look at how we can actually use a model which can be retrained. Okay, now let me show you this one first. It's still deploying. By the time it's deployed, let's go back and let's look at how you can actually create a model which you can retrain, right, with your own data. So create a project, give it a name. I'll say profit prediction. Okay. Now, profit prediction is a type of a machine learning model, which is, now tell me, is it classification or regression? Can anyone tell me, is it a classification model or is it a regression model? Profit prediction. Tushar says regression. Okay. Anybody else? Sayuri says classification. Shailesh says classification. Okay. Now, I'll give that answer later. Okay. Now let's create data sets first. So I'll say create new. I will create one train data set. And I mean, I'm just creating a folder. Okay. I just created one folder and then I'll create another folder called as test. Okay. So train and test. Now my data is basically divided into train and test, two types of data. Let me show you how this data looks. Okay. The train data is this, where I have R&D spend, administration, marketing, and state. Now, state I have converted to the numerical format, but I know that the state number 1 is my California, state number 2 is my another state, let's say some Ohio or something like that, and state number 3 is something else, right? Now, this we have done because we wanted to do feature encoding. Now, there are two different concepts in machine learning model creation or using machine learning model and training it, which the very important thing is feature encoding. Feature encoding means the data that you are giving your model to learn and understand, that data is called as feature. And the data which you are trying to predict is your target data, right? Now, what do I mean by that is your profit column is basically your target column, which you want to predict. And this data is a supporting data to understand based on these parameters, this is the profit. And based on these parameters, this is the profit. This, how do you understand? And how do you tell your model? That is nothing but your data for a model to learn. You have to give the data in a numerical format. It has to be in number. How do I know that? Let's go and search UiPath TPOT AutoML regression. Okay, I just go to this documentation. In this documentation, you can understand the data that you're providing input. It tells here features used by the model to make predictions. For example, blah, 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 this is this, right? And then where it says the model is a generic tabular numerical value only. You see? So what does it mean by numerical value only? So TPOT is a Python automated machine learning tool that optimizes your machine learning pipeline using a generic programming. And the team pod basically decides which type of a data to be used for your regression model. Now, when I say regression, there is a difference between classification and regression, remember. So what is a classification? What is regression? Classification basically means you already know the parameters, what you want to classify between. For example, sentiment analysis. You know either it is good or bad. That means it is positive or negative, or it is neutral, or max to max. You have, let's say, 5 parameters. Very positive, positive, neutral, negative, very negative. However, your prediction will never be out of these 5 classes. So whenever you have a fixed number of classes where your data will be considered or classified is nothing but the classification model. And it can be in a range of values which decided by the feature is your regression. For example, so based on left hand side and right hand side, your graph point is decided. Similarly, like that, based on your input data, your feature data, prediction is between threshold value of the anticipated amount, which is called as regression. So, okay, regression is basically a regression model. Datasets, test and train. So I will simply upload file, but I just showed you the data as well, right? And that's why, what did I do? I converted that data to numerical format. I have converted it as a CSV because again, the input format for this model is a CSV. Now let's go back here. What do? I upload file from my folder, which is train.csv. Then the another data, which is the test data, upload files, which is my test.csv. Uploaded here. Okay, now quick again. So train CSV, can you check how many rows I have? I have 51 rows, right? And test CSV, I have 13 rows, which is just 10 rows. So you see, what did I do? I here broke the data into a certain ratio. So I did not have more amount of values or huge amount of data. But what did I do? I broke it into 80-20 ratio. So training data is 50 rows, and that's where my testing data is just 10 rows, right? Close to 10 rows. It doesn't have to be actually exact 80:20, but it can be close of 80:20. Okay. Now, when you uploaded this data to the data sets, now let's go to data labeling. Do we need data labeling here in this model where we need to predict the profit prediction? Is there any data for labeling? Anyone? No, exactly. Because this is just a tabular data, and the model which we are going to use, Teapot AutoML regression, is nothing but works on your tabular data, right? Or the rows that you have provided. So labeling is required only when you have a certain documentation in picture where you have to label. For example, entity recognition, where you have to actually upload emails or PDFs and then identify and label what data you actually want to extract out of that particular information, right? Okay, moving ahead. ML packages. Now, what do? Out of the box packages, and I will select tabular data. I will select Teapot AutoML regression model. Okay, it's a retrainable model. I will submit, give it a name, profit predict, right? Submit. Then the moment I submitted, you can see the model is submitted here. Now comes the picture of pipeline. I will simply go ahead, and now you see, when we talked about the pipeline, we have 3 types of pipeline: full, train, and evaluation. Full pipeline, I just talked about. What is full pipeline? It is basically mix of both your training pipeline and evaluation pipeline, and it does both the operations at the same time and just completes the entire run with the pipeline, which is a full pipeline. You can also do train pipeline, evaluation pipeline. So just select train pipeline. You can give it a name. Let's say profit training. However, remember, the best practice for giving your training a name is also including your date, right? So 2nd November, I can say ML package, major version, minor version, and now input dataset. Now for this data, what I will do is I will select the train. So I can click on this one. Oh, sorry, one second. I can select the train dataset. Okay, and then what are the environment variables? So environment variable is basically your target value, what you want to predict. So in this case, if you just scroll below, you can see environment variables, right? So environment variables are maximum time minutes, target column, blah, blah, blah. I just need target column. I'll just copy this one, go back, I'll say configure, add a new value, target column, and the value is, what is the target column that you want to predict? Profit. So I'll just copy this. You want to perform and what you want to select, and based on that, you can actually decide. Hello? Hello?
Yes, Nisar, you're audible.
Audible now? Okay, perfect.
Yes.
So, yeah. So I did not say anything after that because I know I was lost. So the environment variables is nothing but here I just columns I just
Yeah, we couldn't hear anything after environment variables. Nisar, you there?
yeah, I am just connecting back. Is it
Yeah.
good?
Yes, it
Okay.
is good now. Maybe you can start from environment variables from the beginning.
Yeah, yes. I will start from environment variable again. So the environment variables are nothing but the values which basically you want to define. So like it's basically when you define an API, you define the parameters and variables of the API. It's just like that. You have to define the parameters of environment variables where you have maximum time minutes. You can find the definitions here. You can define scoring, which actually makes you to sklearn model selection, cross value score to evaluation pipeline. And you can also define target column and keep training if you want to do, right? For example, like a typical auto TPO, but you can define when do you actually want that training to be true. Otherwise, the TPOT will continue training where it left. Okay, amazing. Now I gave environment variable of target column, enable GPU, and I will say create. The moment I say run, you see the status is running now, correct? Now it will run based on the training pipeline. And once the training pipeline is completed, then we will perform the evaluation and we will run the evaluation pipeline. In the meantime, let's go back and check other AI Center model, what we created already. There's so many models. Sentiment AI. Okay, this is. Okay, and the ML skill is active. You see, it's now available. And you basically have the model as 2022.12.0 and training version is 0 because it's not trained, right? It's just already pre-trained. And you can see the output description also. It has only fixed certain defined categories, right? Which you can use. So basically, defining or deploying a model which is non-retrainable, it's very easy, right? It's simple. Just select the package, deploy the model. That's all. And just start using this model where you will provide your input parameter as JSON and output you will get as output where you will get the values of very negative or negative, right? Now let's look at the model which we are training, which is the profit prediction. So profit prediction, this one. Let's go to the pipeline. It's still running. It'll take its own sweet time because training usually takes a long time. And this is the only time consuming piece within your machine learning model building, right? Within your machine learning model building, the only piece which takes huge amount of time is nothing but training your model. Now, the moment your model is trained and training is successful, it will change your status here as successful And once you refresh, you can see that training will be completed. And then when it is done, you can go ahead and start evaluating. Now, remember one thing. When you train, your version is 2022.10.0.0. But when your training is completed, this version will be available as 2022.10.0.1. That means your model is now trained with the new data. Again, another important parameter. When you train your model, let's say if someone has a question, if tomorrow I have more data, I want to train more. Can I do retraining on my previous model? Yes, you can. Now, question from me to people who attended yesterday's session. Can we train already trained document understanding model? If yes, can we retrain it on the previous version of document understanding model? Anyone? Tushar says no. Okay, if no, then how do we retrain document understanding model?
Um,
Hello?
yes, yes, can hear you.
My internet connection is a little bit unstable. Am I audible now?
Yes, yes, you are.
Okay. So Shailesh says yes, training is allowed at the time of creation. And Vittal says yes with extracting. Okay. To answer this question, what I asked is, can we retrain already existing or already trained model in DU? Yes, you can. But you cannot retrain it on the previously trained version. You can retrain only on the base version. So document understanding is the only case where you have to retrain the model all over from the beginning on the base version. But in AI Center, that's not the case. You can actually retrain on the previously trained version as well, which is a good thing. Okay, let me refresh again. Okay, this will keep running. It will take its own sweet time. But the main point is, once you run this pipeline, after the pipeline is completed, then you basically see the view in such a way. Let me check if I have this pipelines available here. Okay, can you see this? So in this one, what do you see? I completed the training pipeline first. My version was 1.0. Then I ran the evaluation pipeline, and my evaluation pipeline, both the pipelines are successful. You can see the status, right? So the first pipeline, which is the training pipeline, took 546 seconds. And then the evaluation pipeline took like 60 seconds only. However, it has given me a score of 84.98% accuracy. That means my data, which is trained, is 84.98% accurate. And the model is that much accurate to give the prediction. So for example, if the model is trained now, if it's deployed in the skill, and when I start using, that means this particular model will be 84% accurate while it gives the prediction. So that's the whole concept of retraining the AI Center model. And then basically you just go ahead and deploy the ML skill. Currently, I have not deployed the skill because I don't have the licenses. But here, as we see, the licenses are available, the pipeline is running, and you can see the status here. Okay, so pretty much that is all on the high level in AI Center. AI Center majoritarily have only these main concepts where you can either create your own model and upload it, but that needs a data science team for you to actually create that model and then upload to AI Center. But that also happens a lot. Second, you choose the model from the UiPath's already existing document understanding UiPath's already existing out of the box models. And the third option is selecting the models from open source packages which there are a lot. So there are so many amazing models, and I just would like to walk you through quickly about the out of the box model packages, which is the language comprehension and language translation, my most favorite ones. Language translation, if you're building or if you're using AI Center in this upcoming event of UiPath community, right, hackathon, you definitely would love to try this feature, which is the language translation. It actually has English to French, German to English, English to German, Russian to English, English to Russian, and then multilingual translator as well. And similarly, you have other interesting models, which is the language comprehension, which is again one of my favorite ones. Question answering model, text summarization, semantic similarity. All these three models are pre-trained, so you cannot actually retrain these models, right? And then quickly to go back, the another interesting model is your language analysis, where you have the named entity recognition, which is again another amazing model, which basically understands your entities out of your text of the text of your data. Amazing. So looking at all these models, and I know it's a lot to take in within only 1 hour, because literally the AI Center is a topic which can be covered within 7 to 8 sessions. And we have tried to cover the functionality on a higher level within only 1 day. Okay. Now that we have seen everything, I think we are open for questions now. We have pretty much covered everything. How to use this and how you can actually, can we have more? if we want, I think we can have more sessions on this, and we can actually try to implement one complete solution live. But you can anytime recommend or refer videos or academic training where it's all in detail explained how we do that. But I just wanted to cover the major and most important piece where many of the people are confused is what is the main difference in trainable, non-trainable model, how to deploy a trainable model, how to deploy a non-trainable model, how do you know the data sets, how do you define your data. And I just give you one super big hint. Just recommend the docs of official UiPath for any model before you use it, and you can get all the information that very easily. It's as simple as that. Another very important question: what will be the source of data, right? If you are participating in the hackathon, obviously you will create synthetical data. If you're not creating a synthetical data, then if you want to find out existing data sets, what is the source of data? Anyone would like to share that? My favorite personal one is Kaggle. So Kaggle has built for of course, and you can use it to train your own model. Let me show you Kaggle datasets. Look at this one. So this is the Kaggle, and then there are datasets which you can actually search also, you can use also. It's completely based on you how you want to use it. Okay, how to use this in Studio? I can show you that. Let me check if I can quickly pull up a work. Is that? No questions? Parvati, Sharif has a question. Vittal, any questions? Shailesh. Now I know all of your names because you guys are attending all 3 sessions, which is really good. Amazing. I'm super happy that you are interested and you are actually going through detailed training of AI capability products, which will definitely benefit you a lot in your knowledge and when you talk about this in your work as well. Okay. So share as a question,
Also,
can we
please
perform
do
image
register.
comparison?
Yeah. Also, please do register
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
tomorrow's session if you want to. And if you're interested, I will share the link for that session as well. So you can register and join. It will be more around the AI connector that we have. Okay, continue.
Yes. So just say machine learning. Okay, ML. Okay. So use the package ML services, right? And install and save. This is to answer Sharif's question. However, Sharif, the main problem is my studio is connected with my personal orchestrator and not with the staging yet. So I don't have any deployed models right now, but I can show you how actually you can do that, right? So Just type ML activities, you have a ML skill activity. Now look at this. You have two different connection modes, endpoint and robot. Now remember, we have an option when we deploy a ML model, there is an option to make it a public. So when you say public means you select here as a connection mode endpoint and you enter that ML skill URL here, which will be generated. And then immediately you can start using that ML skill, which is nothing but a public endpoint. The leverage and the advanced benefit of that is you don't have to actually connect it to that particular orchestrator tenant. But yes, you have to be part of that particular orchestrator, right? Overall. Now, apart from endpoint, robot connection is very simple. Whatever is connected, you can see all those ML skills here. Currently, I do not have any because I don't have the license. However, you can see all your skills here. And then you just pass your input data in a specific format and output data in the JSON format. And that's where you receive the response. It's as simple as that. I hope that answers your question, Sharif.
Yes, Nisar. Thank you.
Okay, amazing. Tushar, can we perform image comparison? You can. It's very easy. And Tushar, I already have on my YouTube channel. Let me actually stop sharing and let me actually pause sharing for a while. Let me actually go to the YouTube channel. I want to show you guys one quick amazing thing, which I already have. And this is specifically for the AI Center product. Okay. So sorry for the super slow internet. Okay. Know when you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, amazing. So this is my YouTube channel. I will share this link with you as well. But on my YouTube channel, if you go to the playlist, I have a playlist called as where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, UiPath AI Center tutorials right here. So if you see the playlist, this playlist basically has all the AI Center use cases literally built from scratch. And I've also demonstrated how you can do that. There's also one object detection, which somebody just asked. There's a teapot auto regression model I just talked about, right? Profit prediction. There is a AI center sentiment analysis model. Then there is language comparison, text comparison, right? Translation models. Then there is sentiment analysis custom model, text classification model, predicting diabetes based on UiPath's AI fabric using teapot model. Then there are so many different videos. You see object detection again, invoice extraction, then speech to text, then your language. And then somebody just asked me about the signature comparison. So you have this video for signature comparison from images. So basically you can compare two different images on this one. I hope that answers your question. Tushar, you can actually watch this video. Signature comparison. You can get the complete idea of how you can perform image comparison. I'll take third question. To create our own ML model, do we require special skill set, dataset consultant? Yes. So to create your own custom ML model, you need a Python. You need deep understanding on Python. You need the data science team, basically. You can leverage the already existing models in Python. However, you need to create that model in a specific format defined by UiPath to upload to UiPath's AI Center portal or page. You can get that from the documentation. Does that answer your question, Vittal?
Yeah, yes. Thank you.
Okay. Next question I'll pick up again from Vittal's question. Do we have on-prem enterprise version to use AI features? Or it's available only for cloud? No, there is also on-premises. However, to set up on-premises, you need Linux. So you need to set up Linux server and then you can install AI Center there. And I'm not sure about the new capabilities of UiPath's AI Center along with the newest version of the licensing. How do they do that? But yeah, earlier back in time when I used it on-prem, I used it with the Linux, right? And since last 1 year, I have been using only on cloud. So I haven't never installed actually on premises, but I think so. Now with on-premises, you might have it available on Kubernetes as well. You can maybe host it on Kubernetes and you can then connect it within your UiPath orchestrator as an on-prem application. Shailesh has a question. Is there any model related to speech to text, text to speech? Currently, there is no model such as speech to text and text to speech because that is not part of the machine learning. Speech to text and text to speech is basically part of your AI. And the model which is used in background is usually not on the data level model, right? It's basically your audio to text and then text to audio. So that is nothing but a different algorithm altogether. So there is no current such existing model. But yeah, there's something which you can build as a custom model and you can upload to UiPath. Why not, right? You can give it a try. Or Shailesh, what we have done recently, we have used many APIs like Whisper, like out there are like Chirp. If you have heard about Chirp by Google, right? So I have recently tried Chirp. I have recently tried ChatGPT's Whisper. They are amazing models. Speech to text is working phenomenal, you know. So you can use this model, but that is currently available as a AI connector rather than AI model, which we will look at it tomorrow. Does that answer your question, Shailesh? Perfect. Tushar again has another question. Is there any option to do data cleaning? No. But very good question, Tushar. Because data cleaning is actually very crucial phase of your feature encoding, right? So I have a documentation, or rather, I would say, I have a session which I delivered long time back. Where do I have that? Let me check if I have that on my series. So on my series here on UiPath AI, about UiPath AI Center, I have it somewhere where I've mentioned how you can actually optimize and make sure that your data is clean, because this is very important process before training your model, before you uploading. You have to understand what you need to upload and you need to clean the data. By means of cleaning data, you need to perform feature encoding, and feature encoding has different parameters. First of all, you have to verify if there are blank values, right, in the data that you're uploading. Second, you have to verify whether your data is following a correct format, what is required, and what is accepted by the model, right? Third, you need to provide adequate amount of data. For example, if you're giving a classification or if you're training a classification model, you have 5 classes. And now what you have done, you have parity in the data, right? Wrong parity. When I say wrong parity, means you have 100 rows, out of which you have 75 rows for one category and then rest 5 each row for another categories, which is not equal parity. So you have to maintain the parity of the data in order to train. So that is also comes under the part of your data cleaning. So data cleaning is a very big, very small word, but a very big process where all these things include, where understanding your data, cleaning your data, removing all the blank values, then making sure you do not have too much of a parity, making sure you have proper data of every class if you're using those models. So that's the whole process of data cleaning, Tushar. Does that answer your question? But yeah, option in UiPath, no. We have to do that personally, manually. It's a manual process. Amazing.
Perfect.
Okay,
I think
if we don't have any more questions,
good. Yes,
yeah.
we are good. I think thank you so much everyone for joining. Looking forward to see you tomorrow in the session at same time as today. So see you. Have a good day. Thank you, Nisarg.
Thank you, Rohit.